It's almost as if you have finally realized that the only way to save your life and to save yourself from the sure death that's waiting for you is to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's as if you honestly finally really believe it.
Well, see, and also that I'm scared. I haven't. People, when you're younger, you believe you're invincible and that you can get through anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't had that peg knock me down yet. I still I still feel that way. I still I've had overdoses 2 in a month in December where I was dead,
Mm-hmm.
for a couple minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and it took to revive me. And I went and used that night because I still don't, and I still have that feeling to this day that I could get through something if something was to hit me because I haven't had that. So I don't want to keep testing it. It's, I mean,
You've had some significant health shit in the last year as well, you know?
Yeah, because of I don't want to keep testing it because it eventually, something will eventually kill me. I was dead on that couch, and it could have ended there, but it didn't. So I, but there's some invincible, like, I don't want to just be the person that just lived real fast and died young, because I've lived really hard and died young, and just it's a write off because at the end of the day, in a couple weeks, people will just move on and I don't know, maybe the selfish person in me, but I don't want that. I don't want people to just move on because that's what happens. People go on, life goes on.
Right.
People aren't that they're important, but they're if I was to die tonight, the people out there that I hung out in Syracuse with,
Your quote unquote friends
would still use. They'd be like, okay, then keep it moving.
That sucks.
And the people that were close to me would be like, we knew it was coming, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Knowing that that's how your loved ones think of you, is that he's gonna be dead anyway. He's gonna just die. So we're just buying our time. We're buying our time. Because I had an uncle like that who suffered from alcoholism, and they always thought he was just going to be dead. And he died. And he didn't die from alcoholism. His heart exploded. That's what killed him. But they always thought.
They were just waiting for it.
You know what they said to him? They didn't say to him. They said, he doesn't have to suffer anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. He's not in pain anymore. That's what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how if I die tonight,
that's you
exactly
feel.
what everybody would say. He doesn't have to be in pain anymore. And I can handle not being in pain myself. I'll do it instead of just dying to not be in pain anymore. Why don't I just fucking get clean and not be in pain anymore?
Right. And not just get clean, because obviously you suffer from mental health issues. You know, we talked about that earlier. You're, you come from a...
I don't know who's going to see this video. People might see this video. Your family might even see this video.
Right.
Some of your family might see this video.
Yeah.
I keep everything so close to me. But because I use drugs, because I did use drugs, hopefully whoever's seeing this video, I'm not using drugs at this time. You don't just just dismiss those people as individuals. You know what I'm saying? Because people made mistakes in their life doesn't mean that they're just discarded and either you're better than them or they can't be a part of whatever you're doing because you use drugs. People make mistakes. At the end of the day, I'm a human being. The things that I have dealt with, I should be a fucking monster to people. I watch my dad beat my mom. I should be a fucking monster. And I still have a heart. Drugs do not define individuals. People have to realize that. It isn't just, oh, he has a drug problem, stay away from him, he's a druggie. People, there is good, feel good endings to stories. They don't all just exist by just saying, oh, he's a druggie, stay away from him. He's no good. He's no good. Why? Because I used drugs in the past. But the people who beat their wives when they go home and keep it under wraps, they're okay. It's all what you let out. It's what you let out. Nobody sees the abuse. Nobody saw that. They just see a druggie and they want to get as far away from this individual. He's no good for you. He's a druggie. That's not true. That is not true. And for me, I understand the stigma behind the drugs because it's people, it's judging a book by its cover. It's 100% that. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's judging a book by its cover. I just wish there was a little more leeway when it came to dismissing people so goddamn fast. Oh, this guy has a drug problem. Because I have a drug problem, I'll never get better. I might get better and improve. Because to me, that makes it seem like that person's better than that person. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. Like, oh, because I had a drug problem, you don't want to associate with me. That's on you. You live with that. I would still associate with somebody that robbed me if I knew they changed their ways. There's second chances in life.
Absolutely.
That people, but once a drug addict, always a drug addict. I know there's going to be times where when it comes down to it, like after down the road years where people won't trust me because of, oh, is he getting high or whatever. If people still want to call me a drug addict at that time, that's on them. That's not on me. That's your issue. It's not my issue because everybody should be. I've had so many people write me off because he's just like, he'll never get better. Fuck it, he'll die. And just stay away from him. He's a bad dude. Why am I a bad dude? Am I a bad dude when I pull people out of fucking buildings? Am I a bad dude when I do CPR for people so they live? Am I a bad dude when I put 75 individuals up in an apartment? No, I have an issue.
No, right. And I don't think necessarily that everybody who says stay away from that guy, and I don't mean just for me, I mean for anybody. I don't think that people say stay away from him, he's a drug addict, that they don't realize the goodness that there is in you. I think that it's more what comes with being a drug addict. Like what you have dealt with and what you've suffered with in this addiction for however long, you've gone from being a functional member of society where you were working and you were contributing and you had your own place and all of those things to living on the streets, sleeping in the park.
Yeah, but if you come back from that,
you can. Yeah. It is possible. Yeah. And that's what this is all about. Like, that's what you going tomorrow morning.
Yeah, like people can come
is
back
all about. You can. I'm
just saying for people out there to give that person a chance.
Yeah.
As opposed to just dismissing them forever
and writing them off. Yes, that makes sense.
And ever and writing them off.
Because people go through.
Because people do that, and that sucks. That people just write people off because they're because I'm a drug addict. Like, one example I'll give is me seeing my niece. I have a niece who's 5 years old that I've never seen.
Right.
And my sister-in-law feels that I'm just a piece of shit, trash, and she never wants her around me. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. What? Like, who the fuck are you? Like, because I have a problem? If I get better, I can't be, like...
Well, I think it's a matter of, honestly, and I'm not dismissing that and how that makes you feel. No, in no way. But I think it's a matter of...
To me, that's on them, though. That's on them. If I get better and they still won't let me see
Absolutely.
that's on them.
Yes,
not me.
and you, I mean, you have goals in this. You have goals other than to save your own life. You have goals to become
like, I have a brother that doesn't talk to me,
mm-hmm.
and that sucks. And I hope he eventually does. But if he doesn't, he doesn't. But I don't know. I just that bothers me because today I didn't know if I was going to get the chance to go because they told me November 17th, and I really thought that I might not be able to go to rehab. And like, it was like, nobody's going to give me a second chance, like not even a second chance, just another chance to do this. Like, I don't know. That's why I brought that up, because I didn't want that to be like...
You were feeling super, super motivated to go and to do this and to really embrace everything that you were going to learn and everything that you were going to do and just get better. And where you're going has a mental health part of it, as well as the drug addiction part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then for them to call and say, well, you're not going to come until the 17th of November. Figure it out.
Yeah, it's discouraging.
Yeah.
And I didn't, like, for a while, I didn't know what was going on. But I handled it differently than I did every other time. So
mm-hmm.
I sat in silence, and I didn't freak out or just start trying to make moves.
Right.
I just let it play out.
Mm-hmm.
I said, there's nothing I can do. Just let it go. And just, whatever happens, happens.
Just kind of sat with it.
Yeah. And I sat there, and then my phone rang, and it was a 570 number or something like that. And it was Pennsylvania. And I was like, are you kidding me? And they called and said, yeah, we want to get you in tomorrow. So, but normally, I would have left this hotel room, I would have found the way to Syracuse, and I would have went and used. But I said, I can't handle it that way. I got to handle it differently. So I just sat here. That's what I did.
So you're really you've got a different approach to it than I've seen you have. I mean, I know that I haven't, in the grand scheme of things, I haven't been around a significant amount of time. But you definitely are approaching it differently than I've seen you approach things before.
Yeah, well,
like this.
I had to, the times that, like, you weren't around, I had to experience a ton of pain to think this way. A ton of pain.
A ton of, like, emotional pain?
Yeah, that I can't even describe. Like, a ton of pain. Crying at night and sleeping just in the dirt.
Yeah.
Like, and then having to go to work the next morning, work all day. Like, a ton of pain.
Because we kind of detached a little bit.
Yes, yeah, we did.
Well,
for your,
well, I had to.
Well, your safety. Like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. But...
Not my physical safety,
no,
just for people to hear.
No.
But for my mental safety.
And it was a decision on my end, too, to do that. Like, I didn't just keep approaching it because I'm not a bad person. Like, I didn't say, well, no, you need to talk. No, you don't need to talk to me. I get it. I'm bad in drugs. I get it. Like, don't talk to me. It's just better. You should do that. Yeah. So that's what we did, and I experienced a lot of pain, and it might have been enough. Hurts. Hurts bad. Hurts bad tonight.
Yeah, tonight's a hard night.
Tonight's difficult. Yeah.
You might think knowing that you're going to be gone tomorrow for a significant amount of time, because the plan is not to just be there for the 28 days of inpatient.
Correct. Because that won't change anybody's mind on me. I've done 28 days before standing on my head. I could do 28 days.
28 days
all
is
day.
no big thing for you.
Ain't no shit for me.
Right.
Yeah. No, I gotta have fucking links of sobriety.
Yeah, and you do when you need to do it. I mean, you need to do that because you need to allow yourself the time to get better. 28 days is not enough time for a drug addict of however many years. How many years?
It's like 24.
Like 24 years
But
to get better. Or even start.
Like, the stuff I'm going to feel is scary. And I'm going to feel a lot of it. And it's so scary. And I'm not going to be able to medicate. And that's what scares me. Is the stuff I'm going to feel.
Well, you're also going to be in a place where they're going to teach you some coping skills with that.
Yeah,
and
but sharing about the stuff that you feel, to me, I compare it to like buying a new car. This is how it is. Because buying a new car, you go back and forth with the car salesman.
Right.
You want the best deal. He wants to make his, percentage. And I've bought a couple new cars in my life. And at the end of the sale, it's exhausting. You're there for 6 to 8 hours. You have a headache. You're just worn down because it's going, let me talk to my manager. Let me go back. And you're going back and forth with the salesman, haggling a price. And you're just exhausted. And that's how, like, when they ask, well, what happened when you were young? That's how I feel at the end of those sessions, is just exhaustion, like, and emotional, like, exhaustion. And then you get that, and then you go process that, and then you walk away from that, and you usually numb it.
But you gotta sit with it now.
But now you have to sit with it, and that scares me. Yeah, that scares me a lot. So, yep.
So tomorrow morning, we'll be doing probably your last video, right?
Yeah, tomorrow
and this
will
little
probably be last. And I'll keep track of everything on paper in the rehab.
We picked up a little journal type thing today.
And when I get out, I'll make more videos. But this one will probably be edited down so that it's not so long. And watchable, and in increments. There can be chapters to it. Yeah, so that's what we'll do.
Do you think we should do one where we introduce who I am so people know who the talker is behind the screen?
If you want to, we can do that, but we can keep it like so that they can hear your voice, but they don't see you. Just out of privacy, like, because you got to look at it this way. If it gets out, like my videos, and they start to get going, you're his teacher. They're gonna be like, what? Don't have anything to do with this guy. You know what I'm saying? Just out of privacy for yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Protecting me.
Yeah.
From that, yeah.
Me, I don't care. It's me. It's what are they gonna do? You can't. Yeah, you can't hurt me more than whatever you throw at me, I can handle. But you, it could affect. So that's why I say that. That's why the introduction thing, like you interviewing me now, is fine.
So they can just hear my voice.
They just hear your voice, and that's the way we go. That's the way I look at it, because it's that stigma that I talked about earlier about, whoa, what's the no, this isn't allowed.
I mean, but so you're like a raging, ripping drug addict.
Yeah.
That's how you have described yourself.
Yeah.
But there are people who are raging, ripping drug addicts that people don't know about. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and they can get away with it.
Does it change a person's perception about someone as soon as they find out that they're a drug addict?
100%. 100% it changed their perception on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But even if they're functioning and
Yep.
what are you doing? Are you picking
Because
something on your arm?
no, I was messing with my hand. Yeah, yep. That changes their perception because in the grand scheme of things, they think they're better than they can handle it, and they can't. Yep. I know how to use drugs. I'm a functioning addict. They're not. Stay away from them. I have the experience. I know. Whatever.
A drug addict is a drug addict.
Yeah. Like, or they could have some other demon where they beat the shit out of their wife every night.
Right.
But that's okay. Stay away from the drug addict. You know what I'm saying?
Or they are addicted to porn, or they are addicted. It could be anything.
It could be a number of things. It could be anything. So yeah, and people cast judgment immediately, and it's human nature to cast judgment immediately, and so.
Well, it's a difficult thing when you know that it's something that, because you know, drugs don't just include one person; they include a lot of people that you deal with. You know,
Sure.
and a lot, and like
they can include all your relationships in your life.
Every relationship, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, known to create financial difficulties, to create.
It'll ruin your life.
It'll ruin your life, and it could easily ruin the life of someone that is in a relationship with you.
Sure, that's why they say stay away from them for safety. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean they have to stay away from them forever.
No. And it also doesn't mean that that they have to dismiss them completely.
No, and that their opinion doesn't matter. Like, because you're a drug addict, you don't know what you're talking about. That's a big one too, because that happens